Next up.
Oh boy.
Oh.
Here we go.
Oh boy.
Red, White, Adieu.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Abby should probably lead the discussion on this because it started with you, right?
Yeah. So lyrics by Abby and Matthew Toronto. Additional lyrics by Liv. Quoted lyrics by Justin Briner and Mary Russ. Music by Matthew Toronto, but additional music. Abby, Danny, Lizzie, Kate, Arri. Quoted music by Matt Furta, Naoto Tanaka, Sarah Toronto, and then piano vocal arrangement and orchestral arrangements, Abby and Lizzie.
Before we get into the everything, everyone agreed that there needed to be a song in this part of the show.
Yes.
There needed to be a song for this red-white trial, which, going back to that original question, how do you pick which parts? One of the answers is these lawyers talk too dang much, and it needs to not be boring.
Put a song in that court scene. Yeah.
That's why there's so many testimony songs. It's why Who Killed Gregory Edgeworth exists. It's why this song exists. There were a lot of different versions and like half-written versions of a song for Red White's testimony. And then Abby.
Yes.
This was another one that I pitched like in that first feedback document.
Yes.
We had a question about like what the inspiration for it was.
Yes, we have a big Red, White, Adieu fan, Ahoy Katie, who asked what was the inspiration behind repurposing the Samurai Always Wins, an old Turnabout musical song, into Red, White, Adieu. Where did the idea first come from?
So the inspiration was, at that time, you had already done what became Nothing to Remain.
Yes.
Which is this reuse of The Way Things Were reprise, which was a Turnabout Samurai song. So I basically heard that and was like, oh, this is fair game. And of course, The Samurai Always Wins is one of those like bangers of a song.
It's a certified tri-classic.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, because all of these versions, just like for time and for like what you can get away with sort of plot-wise, like TM Live and our show is cutting Turnabout Samurai, which means we lose all the bangers within.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is fair game, and I like this song, and there isn't a song here yet. I think also it's kind of repetition of Samurai fits well with the repetition of Red White that he also does in Red, White, and You. So I think that was like got my brain going, and also that he's just like a blowhard and just like talks fits well with the patter.
Shut the fuck up.
Exactly. And I think maybe I feel like I'm to understand you're an honest businessman might have been one of the first lyrics that like popped into my brain. So yeah, I think in that doc I wrote like the first half basically of lyrics. I know I didn't do like the final patter. I did enough to like pitch the idea, but that was like very early, like May 2021, I guess.
May 2020.
2020
is when it was.
2020, yes.
Yeah. And so that was part of,
because it was like during the pandemic.
That was part of that whole package of stuff. And
yes.
At the time, I was like, this is so cool. My main issue was we don't have a music team. So if we were to do this, we would have to use the original Samurai song. And there's too much of that's like rooted in the Steel Samurai music from the game that I'm like, that wouldn't fit Red White.
Yeah.
So at the time, it was mostly Joel and Liv who worked on just attempting other ways around it to sort of build a new song out of Red, White, and You motifs and whatever else we had. Liv at one point had a killer like 3-part counterpoint between like Red and Edgeworth and Phoenix, and it was all centered around like Phoenix's dilemma, like does he give in and hand over the dossier to save his life even though it means not doing the just thing. And so like we knew like what the song should be and what it should cover, but we just did not have the musical skill to do it. So it just kind of sat in a concept state for a while. And then when all the Urnsmashers came back on board, you guys took it back over, and behold, now that we can make music in a way that it's not the Steel Samurai song, it works.
So it was like for a while there, we're kind of sitting in that limbo of like, we know there's a song there and we don't quite have it. And like we even did a table read, which I don't know if the blooper
yes, as you may recall, this is a song that doesn't exist yet.
We didn't come prepared with this one, Your Honor.
So yeah, at some point I showed it to Lizzie, or I might even just like done a demo for fun. And Lizzie, fun fact about Lizzie.
Yes.
Is it
So,
okay
well,
if
here's the thing: is you said I was like, a lot of the show is done. Like we're almost done. We've just got this one part, this one piece that we're kind of missing still. And Abby was like, yeah, I had an idea like way back when, like to repurpose, and she used the abbreviation of Samurai Always Wins, which is TSAW, and rewrite the lyrics to be about red white. And I texted her back, and I was like, I don't know what TSAW is. I don't know what you're saying to me. And she was like, it's Samurai Always Wins. And I was like, I still don't know what that means. And she was like, there's a whole samurai case. They made music for Turnabout Samurai, and it's like a full thing that is done, and all of the music is done, and it's a song from that case. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because your intro to Turnabout Musical was TM Live.
TM Live,
Yeah.
We shouldn't have those songs. So I feel like that gave you you weren't as attached to the original.
I was
unbiased.
Like
Yes.
Yeah, I felt like you were willing to make the leap with me on this one. I think we worked it on a little bit, and then we ended up going to Arri and be like, would you please hang this on your refrigerator? We did an art.
I thought it was the coolest idea. Like, I think from moment one, I was like, I never would have thought of this. This is amazing.
Yeah, so then we pulled in Arri and Kate, and we all kind of put our heads together of what is actually, because we saw the same problem of the instrumentation, and also there's some melodies that are drawn from the Steel Samurai theme, and we put our heads together what actually is the samurai melodies in there, and it's actually only in a couple places.
Yeah,
I was shocked.
Yeah.
Try is so good at this.
Yes. So this is the thing Try does, is that he will riff on the soundtrack in a way that it's so evocative of what the song is, but it's not actually literally the song.
It's Gotta Be the Butts feels like Larry's Trials and Trib theme, but that part literally is only quoted once. Yeah, and it's not even part of the melody. It's just in the background.
Yep. It's a very talented person.
Yes.
Yep.
So yeah, it was just a couple places that one of Edgeworth's verses we changed to
600
something that's
600,000.
Yes.
And that's the image, isn't it?
That's the image. I'll post it in the Discord so that you can put it in the video.
The origin of Urnsmashers.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So the name Urnsmashers, we made a meme that is the picture of Mia and Maya putting together the Ami urn. It'll be on the screen right now, so I don't have to describe what it looks like. But I broke the urn, and Kate's putting it together. Nari's taking
Wait, aren't you the ball?
I don't know what's going on.
And Abby is the ball.
Oh yeah. So for I don't know, a few months at least,
you were ball.
The server, I was just the ball. I was really just wanting to be like Arri and being a random object from these games. So I was ball. Yeah. So there was that one, and then it did it again with the verse that Mia and Phoenix sing together. The witness testify. Which, Kate changed it to be Justice for All.
I did. The original version of this, which I had written out, was them alternating between Phoenix and Mia going witness testify to fully make the melody, and then they were like, no, and I was like, all right, it's a good thing these are thirds away, and just made it thirds.
Yeah, because it is such an iconic line.
Yeah.
So it needed to be the hit.
Yeah.
I mean, you were right. You were right. Let it be known.
What did Danny do again?
Yeah.
Danny helped me with some of the ensemble, because I think Abby had the idea to put in the ooh guilty kind of trial by fire reference into the crowd part. And so when I was recording a demo of that, I pulled Danny in to sing the low parts, and he was like, can I just write a line? So I think the bass line maybe is Danny's.
I think I wrote at least part of the tenor bass line, because I've got the little pieces in a little MuseScore file somewhere.
Yeah, you helped flesh it out, because I just kind of wrote 3 random lines that I could sing quickly to show what it would be like, and then you fleshed it out. But I think Danny's bass line is still in there some. Oh no, it was not the ooh guilty, it was the red white part.
Red white makes the rules.
Yeah. Yeah, one of those lines is something that Danny wrote. I think it's the bass.
The song's really good.
In addition to like the lyrics, a few other changes. I guess let's go top to bottom. I guess.
The intro is all new, riffing on.
Yeah, so it's a verse just slowed down and kind of just like free forming it a little.
And I think the intro was something that I threw on there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just like
Which is so fun.
Randomly, I was like, "What if we do this?"
And for some reason,
Yes.
I wrote it in 6/4, and I don't know why I did that.
I don't know.
But it
It's just what it
survived.
I love
And
it.
it's still here.
For a little bit, I was trying to work in revealing testimony. I don't know if you guys remember that
Oh,
into this first
I
verse.
do remember that, and I was sad it didn't
What?
make it that far.
It didn't work. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's a slow swing.
Oh my gosh! Can you? Wow.
I think
I
it
was
was
there
like
for it.
Wow.
I
we'll
was
find
for it too.
bombshells for our clientele or something like that.
This first verse is
It
so
didn't
good
work.
because this was like our. You don't know what this is.
Yeah,
yet.
it doesn't sound like
familiar,
Samurai Always
doesn't
Wins
it?
yet.
It's familiar. You think you know what it is. Surprise!
We
And
have
then
a
you-
great video of
Mhm.
Try.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of him
Abby, I
listening
don't
to
know
it
if you
without
would-
knowing what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the hope, that it was kind of a like, this sounds familiar. What is this? And then when Phoenix comes in with the same words,
Yes.
I'm to understand. It's like, oh my god.
Like,
This is like a very This
Yes.
and Flaff and Dawn were like our most closely guarded secrets of
Yeah.
like
Yes.
nobody
can
saying
know.
It was a toss up in pre-Act 1 release whether we would put out Flaff or we would put out this one for
For the stretch goal.
for the stretch goal for the sneak peeks, and then we went with Flaff, which was I honestly feel like it would have hit well either way, but I think this being a complete surprise until
Yeah,
premiere
Yes.
was really fun.
this was the way to do it.
it's fun.
A couple of things I
So
remember
there's-
about this. The Edgeworth section in the middle, Liv wrote that. So that was from an older
Right, yes.
that was like the
Your
only
fate.
section from the earlier drafts of whatever the Red White Trial song would be. This was the main section that made it into it, which is, you know, a statement of Edgeworth's motif at this point, at his high point, basically, to sort of mark his victory over Phoenix until it's not. I wrote the dossier bit into the middle. And then there was, at one point, an objection song segment.
Oh yes,
Yes, there was.
I kind of
Oh
like
my
that.
God.
Yes! Oh my god!
Yeah, it ended up being unnecessary, but it was
Yeah.
fun. It was this back and forth where it was
Mr. White, you saw the stand 1 week ago,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Yes, I saw it clear as day. What else would you expect?
What else did you expect?
Which
The witness is
those
clearly
lyrics were from the
lying.
original Red White Trial song too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, how did it end? Shit.
The witness
How
is
would
clearly
you
lying.
lie?
How would you prove he lied? You know
How would
what
you
Red
know
can
he
do.
lied?
You know what Red can do for me. You can read the other side.
That was
That
cool.
was it.
Yeah,
That was hot.
it's good.
I like thematic reprises. I'm sorry.
But then it just goes right back into the piano notes into
Yeah.
Samurai,
Yeah.
and so I guess at a certain point it was like it's a little bit like too much of like a digression
Yeah.
away from the
Yeah.
song.
We were
Yeah.
also
It
trying to
just, like,
cut down
wasn't
the
necessary.
runtime.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Um,
was
I
like,
know we
we
were-
can do it faster.
Yeah, we were like, we were gonna cut out the keeping the peace reprise too. Was like this was a major
Yes.
chopping block thing where we're just gonna cut this, and then we didn't end up doing that, so it survived.
My favorite thing about this section, really, really quick, about the white the only way you could have seen it. Like, my favorite point is this dumbass line at the end. If Mia Fey were
If
here,
the
what
witness
truth would you want
Faye
to
were
bring to
somehow
light?
with us here
And then she
today.
starts
Us here
singing.
today. What truths would you want to bring to light? And we were like, is that a pun? And it was like, it is now. It's a light stand. And
Yeah.
I remember at one point I jokingly suggested, I was like, Phoenix puts his hand up for a high five. Mia does not reciprocate. She's too focused.
She is
That's my
locked
favorite
in.
bit is Phoenix puts his hand up for a high five. No one reciprocates it, puts it down. Anyway.
Yeah, I love the setup of like, if Mia were here, what would she say? And then it's like, I'll tell you. I am here.
I'll fucking tell
Hello.
you.
I like that we play around with like in the game the ability for people to realize that like Mia Fey is right there in front of them is
Yeah.
usually just ignored, except sometimes it's not, and there's no rule about it. And so the stage directions are kind of like Red can't place it, but he feels off about the woman next to Phoenix. It's kind of like he's
Yeah.
being prevented from recognizing her almost. And then, yeah,
Abby,
counterpoint.
did you want to talk about the counterpoint,
Counterpoint.
Abby?
Counterpoint. Yeah, so the original version, we did the sort of counterpoint that you hear in Samurai Always Wins, where it builds, right? Like everybody, you get Phoenix at a verse, and then he's going to do the third verse as well, and the fourth and the fifth. So somewhere out there's a demo and lyrics for all of those. But this is one where it's like, it works because it's not really important what people are, when it isn't important that what people are saying, and you just like are getting the like musical effect of it. But there are places where we wanted the words to come out, and so what we ended up doing was just alternating. So we have the patter underneath, which the patter doesn't really matter. It's just,
it's just red
silly.
It's
just being silly.
Yeah.
But then the spotlight shifts from Phoenix to Edgeworth to the crowd and the names. And this is something that I just find funny, is that this is like, the crowd part was like Will Power's part.
It is.
Yeah.
I don't mind.
And then, but it's so spooky and it's so cool. And then we used it other places. So there's just
where
like
else was it used?
Trial by Fire, I know.
It's in Trial by Fire, and it's also in It Was Him.
Yes, it is.
But it's like, technically it's the harmony line in It Was Him. Like, it's all kind of
that's
quite the same. Yeah.
That's the one.
Right. Yeah, so it's just funny that's the origin of it.
He's a man of the people. Will Powers, the representative.
I love having the crowd in here. Just
it's
saying,
so good.
Guilty he did it.
Yeah, it's a fun parallel too later for what he deserves, because like this one, it's like the power of the crowd is what like pushes towards justice, and then it's
good.
Also,
yeah,
and then the next one is like, now they're turned against Edgeworth.
Yeah.
Not our boy.
Not our boy.
Spaghettios.
I remember we watching Turnabout Samurai, Albino Squirrel Productions, and they do the same thing where the second verse, like Phoenix doesn't sing the second verse, it's just Edgeworth and Cody. And I remember being in the hotel room and being like, wow, it's so interesting that and then I remember that there are people in the room that don't know things. And I'm like, wow, it was so interesting that they did this thing.
Wow,
anyway,
isn't that crazy?
I'm not going to talk about why that's notable, but it is.
It was a good, smart change for clarity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I talk to you for a second, Kate?
Oh yeah, I liked the whole deal at the end where like Edgeworth hears Grossberg's name and is like, that's what he reacts to, and there's like no reason why he would react to that. Like there's no reason anyone would know that unless you know the arc of the whole show.
The lore.
So I really wonder, for people who watched Act 1 and then waited all that time for Act 2, why did they think Edgeworth was so passionate about Grossberg in that moment? I wonder.
I think Edgeworth reacting to Grossberg was always in the script even before Red, White, Adieu was written. And I remember when I first read the script, I was like, did Grossberg die? Like,
right, that was the thing, where people thought he was
on, like,
dead
list,
because we changed what the list meant. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And Grossberg's on the list. Yeah.
That's one lyric I never got right.
Yeah.
Because I think originally the lyric was, see a clear day on this dossier of alleged suicides, which scans better.
Yeah.
But then when we were like emphasizing that it's not just suicides, it's also the people he blackmailed, I had to but it never quite locked in, but it's close enough.
It's
a fun little rhythmic change there. But yeah, I think we also have in the stage directions that Grossberg should be in the crowd reacting to his name being read, so that it's very clear he is still alive.
Whoa!
And I guess we should say the names.
Just like ducks down.
He just vanishes.
If it's not clear who the names are, the first half is all Phoenix Wright Musical Productions, like admin and project leaders of different varieties. And then the second half, in our audio production, it's people who paid $100 collectively, each to have their names in the show as part of the backers. And then in the script, it's
blackmailed by Red White.
And then in the script, it's just our names.
Yeah, but
like
the idea
by this marking, Sarah Shope does not have an asterisk, so Sarah Shope has to stay in the script.
Yes.
That is true. That is.
But yeah, because we put our names in, but they're really placeholders. The idea is if you were putting this on, you could put in your own. You could
put in your own names, your own inside
your music
jokes.
director, your choreographer,
exactly.
whatever. We did have a version that was various
all the
people who had
Grossberg.
played Grossberg. Yes,
Yes.
all Grossberg.
That
Oops, all
was
Grossberg.
funny.
Phil Parsons was on
Grossberg.
there.
Yeah.
Hold
Love
on, I'll
him.
find that meme.
Yeah.
Iconic.
I love Oops All Grossberg.
Should we talk about the
Add that one to the-
orchestration, or is there any other structural stuff we want to talk about?
Please, Lizzie, please tell us about orchestration.
Well, you start. You did the beginning
Oh.
part.
Get caught.
At some point in there's a little bit of a da 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 da.
Yep.
This is true.
Yeah.
Right
Tippy
there.
tapaphone. Yeah. Well. Oh yeah, that too.
Oh, yeah, tippy-tap.
I was thinking under tippy tapaphone. Da da da.
Da 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 da.
No, it's in the trombone. It looks like.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Da, da, da.
I don't know. Just vibes. Nothing but vibes. I don't think I have anything to say. Lizzie, please talk. I forgot I did that.
Yeah, it's you, and it's good.
Thank you.
So I was very scared to work on this song. We talked about actually having Try do this song because we were like, oh, Lizzie already wrote Fight Like a Fae. What if we have Try's one song contribution be writing a backtrack for this song? And we did not end up taking that route because I decided to just do it. So the way I kind of attacked it was I did character instrument assignments because there's a lot happening here. And
It's
I
so
actually
good.
had Phoenix is the strings, so he's not woodwinds in my brain. I'm the outlier in that sense, though. So he has strings. It's mostly vibes. There's not a whole lot of leitmotifs in this section. It's just kind of like whatever I thought sounded cool. And then Red White, I was like, he's got to be saxophone. He's got to be a saxophone.
He's gotta be Mr. Honk.
He's got to be Mr. Honk. And then
Mr. Honk is on the dossier list.
And I also had him be trombone, just to kind of add something in there that wasn't only saxophones. So he gets the
sure.
trombone.
In Red, White, and You, did we mention the ba-da-ba that got snuck in there?
Oh, that wasn't me though. That was in the original.
I was
and
in the
like,
original.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
I'm an
is it
idiot.
legal?
My bad. Sorry.
I attempted to like make it not so direct. There's a part that sounds like Friend
Alright.
Like Me, and it was
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's the only bit of trivia I know about Red, White, and You. I'm sorry. I was like, we didn't talk about that. Wait.
yeah. I changed it to be like da 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 da. Like I
A little extra.
switched it. Yeah, made it a little extra. Anyway, Lizzie, go on.
Page 8. Yeah, that's Edgeworth. He gets the brass because he's a big, sad,
brassy
angry
boy.
boy. Brassy boy.
He's a brassy boy.
He is. And then Maya is clarinet. Both I gave her the bass clarinet and the normal clarinet. And I also gave her the pizzicato strings because I thought it sounded fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love me some plink
and-
plunks.
Plink Plonks. Interesting thing about that video we got of Try reacting to this song, there wasn't audio, so it was just him, and all I could see was there was like a point where he was clearly listening to Red White Adieu, and he like lifted up his hands to do like the plucking violin motion, and I was like, he's listening to the Maya section. I got really excited. Keeping the Peace. That starts on page 13.
I
That
just remembered that the first like working versions of this were I had this giant Audacity file with a bunch of different things cobbled together. It was like 10 minutes long because it was this
Yep.
and the Keeping the Peace section like stuck in there because it didn't really exist yet, and then like the rest of the song, and then all the dialogue, and then Red, White, and You reprise.
Yeah,
like
that was in there
Oh
too.
my God.
Yeah.
this giant file that was not all one song, but whatever. Anyway.
page 14 actually. It's da 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 is Anything to Win.
Mhm.
A little bit of Von Karma shining through here. I actually did put leitmotifs in this section because I didn't really know what else to do with it. I did.
I'm so proud of you. There was the Trial by Fire bit, I think.
There is a Trial by Fire bit. It is at the very
Like,
end
right
of it in the clarinets. Perfection. It's the
Oh, shit,
Life
you're
I
right.
Must. The clarinets go da 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 da.
Oh.
Yeah. the
Also-
French horn is also playing 600,000 volts, I think.
Lovely.
Maybe?
Yeah.
No, it's some kind of Von
da-
Karma thing.
Oh, it is. I think it is 600 because it's the da 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 do.
Mhm.
I'm not entirely sure. The first two measures going into it, I think at one point we were kind of going back and forth, and they're being like, "Are we gonna make that the it feels as though I've been here before?" And then we kind of did it, except this like first measure is slightly different, but that da 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 da.
Cool.
I think that's what that is.
That would explain the triplets.
I just remember talking about it a lot. Being like, does this work? And it was like, not really. And then I was like, I'm gonna force it to work. Anyway, Mia.
Yeah, there's other stuff in here, and I can't parse it because I don't have it pulled up and I can't sight read. But there's hidden stuff in there. You guys should download. The people listening to this video should download the midis and the files and find them, and then tell me what I put in here because I don't remember.
Oh, I love the use of the Karine Village motif here.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So this is
Let me get to
Karine.
Mia.
I don't remember who did this. It was not me.
Probably Abby then?
No.
Abby or Kate.
Okay,
I think
yeah.
it was me. I remember transcribing it because I had to listen to that track in my headphones, and it was just like for like 30 minutes, and I was like, I don't know what I'm listening to.
Please.
I don't know what I'm listening to.
And then I put the da 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 on the clarinet because it's Maya and she's from Karine. That's it. This next part I didn't really.
And then Samurai
there's
Always
nothing
Wins
like.
basically just picks right back up. Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing really hidden.
Oh, there's
in
a
here.
well, that's also in Samurai, but
That's the original,
Yeah.
yeah.
All of this is just the original.
Yeah, there is some cross-examination in there.
And Pursuit.
Yeah.
And some Pursuit, yeah.
And then we get back to light. The only way you could see in the light stands shape is back. There's strings because that's Phoenix in this song specifically is strings.
And also in the overture, and that's it.
And that's it. There's some clarinet in there because I was like, this was like the third arrangement that I did, and so I was like, the clarinet, like the just woodwinds in general, can be like both Mia or Maya. It's mostly Maya, but I was kind of using it to be. It's playing whole notes, and it's supposed to be like Mia's presence, like she's here, but she's not speaking yet.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then it gets and then it takes over the strings, the strings switch to whole notes, and then the weird like fluffy stuff goes to the woodwinds when Mia starts to sing because it's shifting in that sense.
Lizzie, your brain.
I
Big and
put
beautiful.
thought thought into this.
Yeah, that's why we're talking to you about it.
This was honestly my peak. I feel like all of my arrangements after this, I was like, it's good. It's not Red, White, Adieu. I put a lot of effort into this song. I even put like bow markings. Oh my god. On page 23. Page 23, I was like, these are down bows.
I need it known. You are going down. Hit it.
Because I wanted them to do dramatic bow circles and be down bowing on all of them.
And I saw the vision, baby girl. I saw it.
I felt
Also,
very
the pursuit
strongly.
in there.
Yes.
I think that may have been in the original, but I will point
I
it
think
out
it
every time
was.
because I'm like,
And then
I'm being helpful.
Then we get into the big stuff at the very end on page 25 is when it gets crazy. So
Let's go.
Red White is the saxophones and the trombone, and he's also the bass guitar. Phoenix is the strings, so now all of those instruments are playing at this part because they must. And I wrote some alto saxophone solo bits that were funky that I liked. And then it's Edgeworth, and so it just like the instruments the instrumentation just shifts, so the strings fall out, and then the brass comes in because it's Edgeworth. And then I remember I was really intimidated to do this song because it is a patter song, and so I listened to a lot of like patter song backtracks to be like, how do other people, like professional composers, handle writing backtracks for patter songs? So I kind of based it off of the one from the Music Man, the patter
Trouble?
song. Yeah,
Trouble.
I didn't necessarily
the one
base
from
it
My
off
Little
of that
Pony.
backtrack, but I did listen to it a lot.
Yes, the one from My Little Pony.
Okay, cool.
It seems like the answer is like hit the beats.
Hit the beats.
It's like steady
Yes.
rhythm.
Yeah, keep whoever's doing the patter give them as much help as possible to not fall apart.
It's funny because one of the things we did was like made it constantly accelerate.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I was like the guinea pig for a while and just like, can I get these words out?
I remember I was stalwartly anti-accelerando.
Oh yeah.
I just remember we had a bunch of conversations where we were like, I want it to accelerate throughout, and I was like, I don't. And that was my only rebuttal.
Nuh-uh.
I think my justification was like, if it's being played live, they're gonna naturally do that anyway.
That is so true.
But if that's the intended effect, which it was, you do have to like kind of virtually recreate that effect because we weren't playing it live. So I think it ended up sounding really good. So I'm glad that I didn't throw a hissy fit about that.
The patter I think is easier than in Samurai. If for no other reason than Red White has 2 syllables and Samurai has 3. And I think
Yes.
that's kind of been confirmed by Katie, who was Cody
yes.
and also did a demo of Red White Adieu, that this one was easier. So there's at least has that going for it.
And I did make Samurai sheet music because I already had the sheet music made, and I was like, I'm just gonna swap. I got the bulk of the work done. I'm just gonna make Samurai sheet music, and you can see all of Red's parts are all 8th notes, and most of Cody's parts are 16th notes. There's just so many more words packed in. There's twice the amount of words packed in, so this is easier.
Did we use the patter for Red White callbacks?
I feel like we must have.
I think so. I mean,
Actually, I don't-
it's the 2 songs. It's Red, White, and You, and it's Red, White, Adieu, right?
We definitely used like part of it, but I don't remember if it was like the first verse or if we used the patter.
like it
We
was.
should have used the patter.
I'm gonna pull it up. You guys keep talking.
Okay. I kind of feel like it was the first verse because we changed the register of the first verse.
Oh, right.
And a lot because Abby is an alto and she was the one doing our demos, and a lot of the people we were calling back were really struggling, and we were like, why are they struggling so much? And it's because it was like way higher up.
It was sitting way too high. Yeah, you're so right.
We were like, oh, whoopsies. So I think it was the first verse that we
This is a
used
pattern
back.
in songs I write, because I forget that people aren't all altos.
I mean, all 4 of us were like working on it, and none of us, all 4 of us were like, why is this such an issue for the people? Not to like call out people who like actors, you know, like, why is this such an issue for actors? Why can't they do my stuff? But like, we were like, Samurai Always Wins is a song that already existed that like had stuff in this register. Like, why is it? What happened? Like, we were trying to figure out what was happening, and that's what was happening.
That was happening. I did look up the callback, and it was the opening verse and then just like glommed on a verse of patter.
Okay, yeah, that makes
sense.
sense.
Yeah.
Actually, no, it was the no, it was the full end patter.
Wow.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
we tested
That's
them.
crazy.
Wait, wasn't
Yeah.
I called back for Red, White?
I think you were.
I think I was.
Maybe.
Because I think I
Might have
remember
been.
that. I think I remember recording this, actually. If there's intel to buy or sell, well, you can count on me. We'll find bombshells for our clientele. That's a red, white guarantee. About a week ago, as the CEO, there was knowledge to be known. So away I go off to Fay and Co. to tippy tap a phone. You see, I saw the stand when I was standing there alone. Oh, Red White's bailiff, Red White's guard. Look at Wright all beaten and scarred, cause Red White kicked his butt so hard. Enjoy your time in jail. Cause Red White's judge and crowd agrees that smarting you was such a breeze. Cause Red White's got 12 PhDs from Princeton, Duke, and Yale. I'll lie and steal and fight and cheat. I own the world, I can't be beat. I've got a golden toilet seat and a gun that fires sharks. There's Red White homes and Red White cars and Red White's hotel, pub, and bars. It's Red White's sun and moon and stars and Red White national parks. Where'd you get that list of names? Stop these useless, baseless claims. I won't play your lawyer games, cause Red White is the top. Where'd you even get that list? I said to stop, but you persist. I told you pause, cease, desist, hold, no, stop.
That might have been one of those things where it was like, where it was like you were also like having issues with the first part, and we were like, why? Like Max knows all of the songs, and he's been here for all the demos.
If I'm
like,
having
of all the
issues, I don't know
people,
what's
Like
wrong.
something's not adding up. Yeah.
Yeah.
we did something wrong.
Yeah, it was not the actor's fault.
Yeah. Only the other thing I can think of that I really changed was all throughout. Where am I looking? Phoenix's part It's Phoenix's part. Cause so many such pain. Mia, I swear that your death will not be in vain. I wrote it to
It's
go
different,
up because
yeah.
it was going too far down.
Yeah. At one point, we went through all of the sheets and figured out what everyone's highest and lowest notes were. And we tried to write alternates for any outliers.
Yeah, and Phoenix's, I think in the original Turnabout musical, like that, him going that low was fine. Like he was like a really solid baritone, but we ended up writing a lot of like higher and higher notes for him in TAAAM.
Yeah.
And so we were just like, we need somebody who is a bass and a baritone and a tenor to play Phoenix. And that wasn't super viable. And so this was one of his lowest notes. So we wrote an option up for that. There's the little part where Phoenix and Edgeworth go, they object over each other.
Yes, we kept that.
And I had the trumpets play during Edgeworth's objection and the strings play during Phoenix's objection. And you can kind of hear that better in the isolated instrumental track where they're playing there. And then, things just get crazy and then the song ends.
Why is it called Red, White, Adieu again?
That was okay. So here's the thing. So I remember this. Red, White, Adieu was a title that Liv came up with for one of her song concepts that she came up with for like a Red, White, and You like thing that she was piecing together.
There's a few. There
and
was
I
like
remember
Red, White, and Two.
Red, White, Two.
Red, White, and Two was Red, White, and You reprised for a while. Like that was the name of it.
But yeah, Red, White, Adieu was a name that she came up with.
That's a good one. Red, White, and Truth.
Yeah, that was it.
And I remember we felt really bad because we ended up using very little of what she wrote because we used a different song than what she was writing around. And so I remember we were like, at the bare minimum, let's use one of the titles that she made. And that was Red, White, Adieu.
And then he does say adieu in the song. So
yeah, I was going to say, it does work a little bit.
And it's just to make life hard for anyone trying to actually like rehearse this.
I was gonna say, all apologies to anyone who's like, we're doing Red, White, and You. Wait, what? Which one? Red, White, and You. What?
It's what Red, White would have wanted.
Yeah, just say his name as many times as possible.
I think I added up at one point. I think it was about 70 times he says his own name.
Yeah,
that was one of our trivia polls that we did.
Poll. Yeah. All right.
Should we move on?
Let's do it.